Hi there. This is one sound. From Omnisphere. It's actually 7 sounds. These are multis. This is so much fun. You guys are going to freak out. I tell you. I'll show you one more example. Stops. Mod wheel. Here are the delays going on forever. That's because of the auxiliary effects on a per patch basis. We will talk about this soon. I'm going to make a video after this one showing that stuff. It's so fun. Okay, we'll get to these. These are so much fun. Hi, my name is John Skippy Limcool, and I am bringing you on a very fun adventure today. This is a new library. I'm releasing it on my birthday because that's just sounds way too much fun. And this is special. This is a library made by a pioneer in the trance dance world for the last 20 years. That's pretty heavy stuff. And for them to bring what they bring to this table is really exciting. So Airwave, who is Laurent Veronez, is going to be releasing this library through Plugin Guru. And I'm honored to have his amazing sounds. So there's 150 patches, 25 multis. Some of his incredible effect racks are all in this library. Let's see, let's go over here. We'll go like this. And oh, hey, could it be?
Hi there.
Hey there. How are you, Lauren?
I'm good. What about you?
It is a pleasure and an honor to have you. Here, we'll have the big screen for a minute.
The pleasure is mine, man. The pleasure is mine.
There. Dude, these sounds are so incredible. It's such a
thank you.
Funny adventure how this has...
That's because of your tutorials, man. They're so... yeah, but you made them so well. I've been watching them constantly for about 3-4 years, and I'm really I'm a really happy user of your own patches as well.
Oh, thank you, man.
I have many of them, and I'm really happy they spare me a lot of time. So pleasure.
And now you get to do that for other people. It's kind of a full circle thing, right? And now, where are you at right now?
I'm in Brussels right now.
Wow.
And that's where I live. I'm in my apartment here.
Yes.
And in a few days, I will fly to New York City.
That's awesome.
I will have a gig in the infamous Cielo nightclub.
Oh, nice.
Alongside with Ronsky Speed and Mike St. Jules.
Yes.
A local hero from New York. I like this guy.
Oh, awesome.
And it's going to be an awesome night for the trance and progressive house lovers.
Yes.
I will come and I will tour the whole US territory very soon.
That would be awesome.
I need that.
Yes.
I need that.
Come and play. There's a lot of people here that...
Yeah. I'd love to. I'd love to.
Yeah. Well, the reason we're here are these sounds. And I'm so happy to share these. And I'm so happy that you're here to go through them with me. We're going to... I'm going to tell you the name of the sound. And then you can play it there. And I can play it here so people can hear it. And you can describe a little bit about some of these sounds. We won't do this to all... because there's 180 sounds and multis to go through if we do that.
Yeah, I've been an Omnisphere user since release date of the first version, which was September 2008.
Right.
And in first instance, I was not really into it. until 2010 when I realized that it was probably the ultimate synthesizer for someone like me.
Right.
And from there, I just started making my own patches and everything else, and
Right.
it all took off from there. And basically, Omnisphere is now my main synthesizer for about everything I do, because and especially version 2, because you can do anything you can dream of with it.
Yes.
And I think we're gonna prove that with the video, because I make some patches just like drum sounds, which
Yes.
is my specialization actually.
Yes.
I
They're
used to
incredible.
make them. Well,
Wait till you guys hear these sounds. The kicks sound like the best samples on the planet, processed the most.
Yeah.
I mean, most
and
sample
most of
libraries
them
I
are
buy.
oscillators.
Yeah.
And this is what I'd like to do in the future video, is probably show people how to make their own, because it's really easy to do, but people have to know how to do that into Omnisphere, because there are a few tips and tricks in order to make them really.
Well, let's plan to do
banging.
another. Let's plan right now to do another video on the drum sounds.
Yeah, we gotta spare it for another video, because it takes a lot of time. It takes a while to explain it all.
All right. Well, let's go through sounds and we'll talk as we go. I mean, this could be a long video because we love to talk about synthesis, right?
Well, the very first patch I have here in my list is the
Dance to
BPM bass,
Yes.
Dance to Face, which is in fact the French translation for "in your face."
Oh, really?
It's the kind of bass that really goes into your face whenever you need it. And in this case, you have this mono bass line that you can play with, and when you raise the mod wheel, it delivers its full potential. And you have the sidechain, that 4x4 sidechain getting into it. It's really interesting.
Let me play it for a second. Here we go. It's great.
Yeah, actually, it looks quite simple, but when you look into the details, it's
The unison happening.
Yep. Yeah, we have tons of small details, but they make the sound.
Yes.
Especially the hard sync that you can see here with that has, if you check the modulation, you have random as well as wheel, so you never have the same sound.
Right. So you have distortion cutoff happening with the wheel, and you have sync that has some random parameters going on, and the filter envelope to the sync as well. So you have this really nice shape.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah.
Love. Kudos to you.
There is. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Well, it's just this is the kind of bassline that's really useful when you when making this kind of really classy progressive trance that I like, know, and you can use it without the low end,
right?
By just high passing it, or you can just use it as a true bass line. This is what I like about it. You can use it for in different ways.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stick, just because when we're playing basses, they need the kick drum. So I'm gonna call up a kick drum on multi-2 that I can mute and unmute. So guys, check out these kicks, and there's so many. I mean, that is just so beautiful.
Which one are you using, by the way?
Let's see. They all this. I think 9. I like 9. It's got a kind of a 909 kind of edge to it.
Yeah, it's a bit dirty as well.
Yes.
My favorites are number 4 and number 8. And by the way, to all users watching this video, this is very important that those patches will keep expanding in the future, because this is number 1, but for sure there will be follow-up libraries.
Yes.
With this one, and you will see other kicks and other ways to do it
Right.
as well.
Yeah. No, this is the tip of the iceberg, I think, with Laurent. I think we're, there's all sorts of stuff here to play with. So, oh, dude, 8. Wow.
Yeah, it's bang.
So this is Omnisphere playing like the most incredible kick drum. That's beautiful. That is just.
I'm serious about it. I mean,
yeah.
That thing.
Obviously,
the V2, the version 2 features are essential to the quality of the kick drums, and I'm gonna explain you why. Because first of all, even with the oscillators, you have the keyboard tracking that you can disable.
Right.
This is very important, and there is another thing that's really important here. Let me grab the kick for example.
Well, there's the new effects. You're using Thrift Shop.
Yeah, I'm using a lot of new effects. Thrift Shop, of course, and also the envelope filter for a specific reason. Is that the envelope filter can get used as a parallel compressor.
Oh,
straight right into Omnisphere.
Right.
Fact is, many people complain about the fact that you can do this or that in Omnisphere. Actually, there is a way to do this or that. You just need to open your eyes.
Right. Yeah, you're using it for. There you go. There it is.
Yeah.
It's on Thrift Shop. So for those of you guys that don't know, Thrift Shop is. There used to be a plugin called Speakerphone, which could emulate all the different types of cell phones, speakeasy. Is convolution reverbs. Convolution reverb doesn't necessarily have to be reverb. It can also be modeling distortion, like guitar amplifier distortion, and all sorts of things. So Thrift Shop has all of these convolution presets.
We just need to do a special, a separate video for that because it's going to take a while.
Like you're actually also enveloping the mix of the reverb.
Yeah.
The proverb is dry, but it's set so that
that just
ambience
for a little
that you hear,
tiny bit, that little tiny reverb on top of that, you can just get those banging sounds.
Just a little bit of depth to the sound, so it's not completely dry and just a waveform, and it's
But that's the point here,
right?
That's the point because when listening when listening through headphones, you have. I always keep getting that dry sound without using it, and now it's on some of the patches. It sounds just right into my headphones.
Yeah,
but probably I'd never use that to make a final mix down, but they're really great when I'm working on Russian in a train or in a plane. It happens all the time, to be honest.
Right. Yes. Well, a lot of in transit. That's when producers, you guys do a lot of the basic building of a remix or something like that, and then finalize it when you have speakers and a nice room.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of we all work in planes, trains, and everything you can dream of.
All right, we're gonna go to Hard Floor Triple Vibe for a second.
Yeah,
that's so beautiful. Mod wheel.
Mod wheel with a little bit of that cut off lift.
Yeah, let's go over
and Hard Floor. Well, the name says it all. You have that German band from the 90s.
Yes.
Formed by Oliver Bondio and Ramon Zenke.
Yes.
And they are together. They are Hard Floor, and they made this fantastic band. Those tracks, and one of them being called Experience One, which was the beginning of a new era for acid trance and acid progressive.
Yes.
And it's from 92, 93, as far as I remember. And it was an amazing record. And he had that bass line in there with the square. And there was one thing that's really great mentioning here with this patch. If you raise the mod wheel and feel like there is, a little bit of resonance lacking, it's not a big deal. You just go to the filter.
Yeah, you were talking about this. So
you zoom the filter, and you just enable filter 2.
Right,
and there you go. Instantly, you have a lot more resonance.
Wow!
And you have something that will do wonders when using, for example, the sound through a distortion.
Right.
Well, you can try it out. It's gonna do wonders. I just had to try myself, and it's sounds great, just like the real thing. A little bit more aggressive though.
Right.
So
here's without filter 2. Let's do D. And here's with.
Yeah. And when you raise your mod wheel, you're gonna hear the difference, definitely.
So here's without to do that. It doesn't have the same sheen to the resonance.
No, it's completely different.
You could even get more subtle and go to modulating this with the wheel and then bring down the depth so it's just a little bit of additional resonance being added. Now you really got that nice peak.
Yeah, exactly. That was the point.
Awesome. So if you want to enhance this patch, all you do is turn this on and control your resonance offset to where it's the exact tone you want.
Yeah, I just wanted to be compatible with other styles as well, and just not acid. Just didn't want that specific sound only, but you know.
Great. All right.
See what I mean?
Pig room bass.
Pig room bass. Well, that's the kind of EDM stuff that I personally don't like that much, but that's truly but let's be honest, it's fun to make.
It's fun to make, and it's got some cool.
Yeah, and when you raise the mod wheel, it's just you have this pitch lift and just like.
Or you can do all the crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
When you look at the patches, it's really simple. You have a modulation envelope on the proverb here.
Yeah.
On the layer effect. So, and you go here, and you can see the
mod envelope.
The envelope on mod 1.
Yes. Let's see if we go right here.
You can see it here. It's very easy.
Oh yeah, so that's bringing up the tail for the body, so that.
Yeah, exactly. So you have just that like as if it was sidechain, but every 2 beats instead of
And it's cool you put little segments that if you turn on snap, you can go to these in between pieces and bring it. Like now we got a little upbeat thing going on. Sniper.
Sniper, like the sound.
Yes. Here, let's play for a second.
So basically, you have this let's say this simple bass line, a little bit distorted, and underneath it you have this very dirty sound.
Yes.
That's really coming, and it's adding the suspense and tension that you need in this.
1 second. Let me play for it so we can hear it for a second. Got this kind of ominous pulsing.
Exactly.
And then add the mod wheel. And the reverb and stuff is just perfectly placed, so it's got a nice little trance ambience to it. Yeah, you've gotten more into film and TV with music as well, so it's not just you don't think just from one genre when you're making these sounds, do you?
Well, I'm going the cinematic route with my trance as well. So, by the way, I have a record out this week. Just the hazard of the calendar, but
great timing.
It's called a touch of grace, and we have I use these wonderful strings, legato strings, and it's just so cinematic. It just has this cinematic sound that I like so much in my music.
And these sounds combine really well if you are working in that direction. So
exactly, it's just I'm about fusing genres anyway. So it's great.
Mix it together, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, The Escapist.
The Escapist.
Let me play for a second. I love this one because you almost lose the count of 1.
Yeah.
But when you put the kick in, it's just right there in the right spots in the holes. And the mod wheel doing the high pass filter, all that flexibility. Beautiful. All right.
What I like about it is the is the fact that when you raise the mod wheel, you have this very aggressive acid stuff coming, really hitting your ears.
Yes.
And it's really, really usual when making this kind of psy progressive or psy ambient kind of record. It's also for film, but basically for psy chill and psybient.
Right. It's really cool.
So we can play it at a lower tempo as well, like 100 BPM or even 80 BPM.
Right.
It's going to sound awesome.
Right. No, it's got a nice, unique quality to it too. It fills holes really nicely without getting in the way. So we're real play. All right, Cybent Treat. Let me play it for a second. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really usual as well. So we can play it at higher octaves and have something different, playing. What I like about this sound is that just like when you keep playing it without raising the mod wheel, is you have all those little notes coming, and on the way, and they're just like a fifth up or an octave and a fifth up. It's just great, You have this. Well, it's a little bit. It gets a little bit complex, but it remains simple. And,
the little tiny thin note that's at the fifth up there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's add the kick. That's just 2 patches, guys. It's amazing. Okay. Beautiful. So much flexibility and the little details like that. Well done. Trance Alchemy Fade.
Trance Alchemy Fade is also one of those psychill, psybient patches that I...
Yeah, here, I'm going to play it for people so they can hear it. Very filmic. You can see this in some sort of spy scene or as well as music. That pause. And when you bring it all the way up.
If you look a little bit further, actually, look at the patch. The arpeggiator is turned off.
Yes. Yeah, this is all happening.
It's all thanks to the modulation envelopes here.
Yep.
So it's, yeah.
The other thing that's nice with this, when you bring the mod wheel, listen to this, when the mod wheel goes all the way up, you lose the bass.
It
just becomes this cool
dirt,
this cauldron of stuff waiting for the bass to be dropped back into it. That's great. Very flexible.
Yep.
All right. Then we get a whole bunch of trance arps. There's 9 of them.
Yep.
Some of these, you were building the multis, and we just pulled them out at the end because when you're building a multi, I don't know if you guys know this, and we'll cover this in a video on multis, but a multi contains 8 possible patches, and whatever they are, you can take from an existing patch and edit it to whatever you want. You're not changing the patches in memory. So you could start from scratch for each of the parts if you want and make it up, and then it becomes what you want in that multi, but it doesn't have to reference a patch somewhere in the memory, which is nice. For all the years making chord combinations, they have to reference the patches in the program mode on those synthesizers. Here it's not the case. Every multi is an entire universe saved of whatever you have going on, but it's not referencing the patches. So the patches, it might say it's a trance arp, and all of a sudden you're using it distorted and high pass filtered as a hi-hat. I mean, it doesn't have to be what it says it is when you get into the multi-world. So we're going to cover all that stuff in another video because that's a very big ocean to swim in, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. It's just the beginning for me because we're just. I mean, when making multis, I just realized that we were just scratching the surface of what you can do, what you really sonically can do with Omnisphere.
Yes,
it's just wow.
I know. It's very cool. So let me play through these really quick. So there's This has a bit, the Trance Arp one has a sidechain kind of a feeling to it.
Yep.
2. A little more Game Boy.
Yep.
3. I love 3.
Yeah, because you have that pitch shift being shifted with the mod wheel. I like it.
And this is using the arpeggiator, so you can see that's going on here. It's very easy to edit these if you want to make them your own. 4. The upbeat. Gotta have that upbeat thing. And you're doing some fun filtering on the delays in the opposite direction of the filter cutoff.
Yep.
Very cool. 5? I love the busy. That's one of the coolest.
Yeah, this is really bread and butter, but it's also the kind of patches that you need into a multi.
You gotta have it. Yeah.
First of all, you have to know that I'm a messy person myself when it comes to writing patches, and just like many people are, to be honest. And the fact is, when I sent you the patches, I realized, and you told me that, listen, there are some multis that just have default. I was like,
right,
man, what do you want me to do with that?
I know.
Like, oh, okay, yeah, we need to do separate patches.
Yeah.
And so I made those patches available separately here. Most of them. And,
so these are the components that were used in the multis in some cases. So they're incredibly useful. They might not be like changing the world, but you gotta have
something by hand, and it's gonna be really useful when creating your own multis.
Right.
And you will see why.
Yeah, totally.
Soon, very soon, but you will see why.
Yeah. All right, Trance Arp 6. This has a cool resonance element to it.
Like the mod wheel effect as well.
Right. And I love the little dancing that's going on with the triplet feel in there that's kind of hidden.
Yeah.
That's great. Trance Arp 7.
Yep.
Sub.
This is up tempo.
Yes.
Definitely something you might use in a.
So here's the thing with this one. So you notice the gap.
Yep.
That gap is where the kick drum's supposed to go. And so when you put a kick drum in, it becomes a continuous pattern.
Exactly.
So that's how you get that big sound on the floor without it becoming this the downbeat being overdriven, is because the bass drum has gone away the bass has gone away for that moment. So there you go. 8.
8 is really useful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. And you can play some trance classics such as Binary Refinery with it. Just a couple seconds.
Yeah.
If you know this record, it's
which record? Well, I was playing what record?
Binary Refinery.
Binary Refinery.
Binary Refinery, 1998.
Yes.
It's a great record coming from, as far as I remember, Australia. I'm not sure, and it's a trance classic from 98, 99.
Yes.
And it's this kind of sound is tailored for mimicking this kind of melodies. So
and it's great for melodies too. Up high, it's got a very nice quality to it. It's not just the bass.
Yeah.
Trance Arp 9. Another side chain. And it's really cool, the mod wheel. All that reverb comes up.
Yep.
Oh, this might be a really good moment to share. We're going to cover this in a separate video. But the new effects section, the new effects are great. There's no doubt about that. But one of the most important new additions is the auxiliary bus for me, because Having that on an effect level for the patches means that a single patch can have a reverb or something. In the past, you set the reverb so that the mod wheel would make it really lots of reverb, and then when you bring the mod wheel back down, the reverb immediately goes away. And I've always wanted to be able to have it keep ringing out. And that's what the auxiliary bus gives you, is this place that you can modulate. Yep. So on the common, you see that this is set up to modulate with the wheel. So if we show modulation, so there's no sound going to the reverb until you bring the wheel up.
Exactly.
And now you have this reverb.
It's a send. So when you bring it down,
yeah,
the reverb doesn't disappear. That's the main point of having sense. Well, the auxiliary.
The auxiliary instead of an insert effect, because that's the difference that a send gives you, is that you can send a mix to the delay or something like that, and then when you bring the mix back down, so nobody else goes through the delay, the stuff that went into the delay still keeps ringing out. Mm-hmm. So here it's dry, and that reverb is still ringing out. So that's it.
Yeah, two new features.
Yeah.
So you can modulate these little things, and at the same time you have this auxiliary now, which I made cool use of.
Yes.
Especially for some effect tracks.
Yes.
I don't know if it's worth mentioning. There are not many of them, but there is one that I use a lot. It's the ultimate classic lush reverb. Fact is, many people think that the proverb into Omnisphere is sounding a little bit cold, mm-hmm. and with a few adjustments, and this is where auxes come in really handy.
Right.
Well, you can just make this kind of rack, and have a totally different sounding reverb.
Right.
And there it is. It's really easy. It doesn't. It's really low on CPU as well.
Right.
And it's really effective.
So this lush reverb that has this really beautiful motion, that's in the included effects racks right here. The ultimate classic lush reverb. It's a reverb sandwiched by two different chorus delays that round out the possible digital quality. Never-ending Trancer. Let me play for a second.
Okay, never-ending Trancer. I like to play the sound and.
Oh, this is the one that has the whole progression.
Exactly. Well, so you have this whole progression, and if you look at the ARP, there is no progression.
Right.
Everything was made with the Modulation Envelope 1.
Right.
And there is a reason for that, because Neverending Trancer was entirely made into Omnisphere 1 until some point, and I just wanted to keep it that way. Mm-hmm. And
no, it's fun.
I'm really happy with this sound because it's really funny. And if you want to cut the chord progression, the progression, you just raise the mod wheel. As simple as that.
Right. Okay, so and this also means that it's very easy for you to sit down at this and go to Mod 1 and move these around to make your own chord progressions. Because this is just transposing the arpeggiator by semitones. So
yes, my friends, it's all about sweating when designing your own sounds and sequences into Omnisphere.
Right.
Because it's not really easy. Let's be honest. It demands a lot of effort and a lot of focus on what you do, but it's really worth it.
Right.
When you know what you're doing, it's just it's just a dream come true. You know, this is the way. This is the way they used to design, modular sequences back in the 70s.
Yeah.
I remember watching Klaus Schulze on German television playing for Barry Graves, and he had this sequencer doing exactly the same thing, on a synthesizer. This is the way it works. Well, the modulation envelope is just as simple as that.
And then he manually shifted the coarse tuning on the module oscillators,
exactly.
Right?
And this is how it. Well, this is how you used to do it into Omnisphere 1.
Right. Before
they came up with this. But fact is, with the modulation envelopes, you can go way further, because when you're working in 16th notes here, you just get 2 bars of progression into the arpeggiator.
Exactly. That's
when
what I was going to point out.
Using the modulation envelope,
It's endless.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the sky is the limit.
So
You
what
see
we're talking
I mean?
about. So this chord progression, having it do this, even with the new ability to shift the offsets with the tuning here, there's not enough steps here to emulate that we're doing, that Lauren is doing in the mod envelope, because this is 33 steps. That's a nice long, and I've messed up the progression because I was playing around with the parameters. Let me go back. So that right there would be the end of the arpeggiator. 2 measures. But instead it keeps going and adding on. And since this is done for you, this is clay for you to take and model, and you don't have to do all this setup to get to this point, but you can take it from here now and make it your own. So that's...
Yeah, you just save the envelope preset for your own, and you just do whatever you want with it.
I hear people panning the use of presets all the time, like, oh, I make my own. And, God bless you if you want to do that, and that's great. But when you have deadlines and you have a lot of music you would need to write, or if you just want something that gets you into the area code that you want to be in, especially for something complex like this. I mean, setting this up manually, that's a lot of work. But here it is for you to work with and take it wherever you want from this point. So you're not starting at ground zero every time, right? BPM bass riff, Trance Arp.
Which one is that?
I love this one.
Same kind of vibe. You have this progression here. Except this time it's using the arpeggiator.
Was this the arpeggiator?
I think. Yeah, this is the arpeggiator. This is 2-bar sequence into the arpeggiator.
Right.
And it's really useful.
Yes.
And you can change. Well, this way you can change the notes into the arpeggiator.
Right.
Really quickly,
Right.
and so it's a no-brainer. No headaches for you then.
Right. It's 2 majors only to work with, but you have a little bit easier to just get here and change the values, and you're making it your own.
I wish there was a way to expand it, but just like with what's the name of this Sonic Charge Microtonic, when you have this pattern list and you can just change them.
Yes.
I wish we could do the same with the arpeggiator and the Omnisphere, but
you could almost, if you set it to 8th notes and put in like a 16th note delay, you could double the size of it.
Yeah, absolutely, you can do that here, but the problem is that you then you lose the resolution of the arpeggiator for the notes, and then you have to
to play in 8th note steps.
Yeah, so. it's not really it's not really handy. It becomes a little bit complicated for some for some tasks.
Yeah.
So I tend to use the arpeggiator for in most cases, but
right. So here we go
set to 16.
Yeah, here we go with Trance bass riff, Trance Arp 2. This has a nice big. So I think for this one, you're combining the mod envelopes with your arpeggiator, because there's a busier pattern going on than the big steps that you see on the arpeggiator page. So if you look over your mod wheel, there's the side chain, there's the shape of the... Yeah.
Really useful. In fact, I'm using big chunks of the arpeggiator, each one with a specific tuning.
Right.
And then from there, I just use sidechain or modulation envelope 1.
Right.
And
so if you turn the arpeggiator off, you have the sidechain with actually 2 sidechains, one for the quarter note pulse and a 16th note pulse tied together, which is great.
Yep.
And then all it's doing here is just it's just playing that type of a pattern on the arpeggiator. So really cool.
Exactly.
Cool variation.
It's
different way of doing it.
Yeah. A simple patch, but it might come in really handy sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times I think these are really fun for people to just see different ways of doing things.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. This is why we kept them.
Yeah. Awesome. Asian Triple Tiger. Bells.
I like this one.
Yes.
Because it's making use of those wonderful, burning piano samples from Diego Stocco.
Yes.
who's really a true inspiration to me.
Yes.
And I've been using those for my own productions. I have countless productions. I have one with Santiago Nino in South America, and that track is called the Metropolis Sunrise. It was released on my Parallel Lines album 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And you had this progression with the arpeggiator. It was completely crazy. And I I made another patch here, another context,
right,
with those metallic,
right.
tigers.
That's beautiful. And then you have the delay filling it in.
This is what I like about it. You have those dotted values and the triplet values as well into Omnisphere. I mean, in the arpeggiator.
Right.
It's very useful.
Very, very easy.
Sometimes it gets easily forgotten by most producers because they're like, hey, 1/16, 1/16th. But there are other values, and they
think outside of it a little bit. Here's a half empty bottle.
Yeah. This is a very, 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 very old patch. It's probably my very first patch, on my own to Omnisphere. And the finished version was, it's from a few days ago only. But the half-empty bottle is a patch from 2009. Something like that.
Right. When you first made it.
6 years in the making.
And here it is. Staple Center's Madness.
Yep. Same kind of vibe. And when you raise the mod wheel with Staple Center, you have those crazy pitch effects in there. Really
and the
useful.
effects go crazy. And then they keep going because they're in the auxiliary.
Exactly.
So that means you can bring up the mod wheel when you want to just... That's so important for the trance music, man. Because that's what you do with the big consoles, is you just bring up the send to a reverb and bring it back down, and now you can simulate that.
Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. Awesome, fun stuff. Slice of Joy.
Slice of Joy. Oh, I love this one because it's dreamy and enjoyable. A Slice of Joy. Name says it all.
Yeah, and the effects, again, you love your effects, and they are so set up so nicely. So one note, and you're cranking, just like that. Because 5 is also a number.
It's also a lucky number.
Lucky. Oh, I need to see the full
name.
Name.
Because in fact, the title is so.
It doesn't even show.
It doesn't fit the window anymore.
Yeah, on a side
Same
note.
kind of vibe. Yeah. Really enjoyable, and it uses this 5-step sequence.
Mm-hmm.
That I like so much into my music.
That's great.
And also makes good use of inner space and thrift job. It's really hungry on CPU, as I can see here.
Yes, my CPU just spiked.
Takes half a core to get there.
But boy, is it a beautiful sound for a half a core, right?
Yeah.
Quickly bounce it down and keep moving on.
Yeah, Clue's worst nightmare, which is
Clues.
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of Trance. Well, I mean, the first movie was one of my favorite. It's still one of my favorite ever. Yeah. And I remember. I still have those images, of the footage of the original Disney movie when you see, Jeff Bridges,
right?
And you see him, just going through those fake corridors from the early from
Tron.
the early 70s.
From Tron.
Yeah, from Tron. Yeah. And those 3D, that fake 3D, and
yes.
just
the light cycles, I believe they were, or something, right?
Just got inspired by that movie, and it's just that you have this half bassline, half lead. I don't know what it is, but it sounds great.
It's great. Yeah, there's so much still ringing on while that pulsing is going on. So that's why I had goose pimples when I played these, and you will have goose pimples when you play them too, my friends. Crusty Crunches.
I like this patch.
Oh, that's crazy with the mod wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mod wheel takes it.
The mod wheel practically that doesn't do much, but it's really useful.
What it does, it takes it from being a banger to a cool bass. I mean,
it's one of the latest.
8 past 6 Trance.
Yeah, same kind of vibe. Well, with 5 is also like a number. You have 6 A sequence, in fact, that you can include into your 4/4 productions, and it's not the very best patch you can dream of, but
right,
it's really useful.
It's very useful,
especially when creating your multis.
Yes. Generic Trance Arp.
Well, the name doesn't say it at all.
Yeah.
This is the kind of ARP that I like when making, psy, let's say psy chill and stuff like that.
Well, a little bit slower tempo than
80, 100 BPM, lower tempo. It's, I think it's going to become a favorite for some of those producers making the same genre.
And I like you've got some wave shaper noise coming in with the mod wheel. Very fun. Kein Berliner Arp. I'm not saying that right.
Kein Berliner Arp. Well, this is part of one of those multis that I made. This is also from 2010.
Yeah.
So that means really, really, really old. But the final multi and patches got finished, a few weeks ago this time. And I decided to include both patches into the library as well. Just not only into the multi, but also separately. Because especially the first one is really, really, really useful.
Let me play it for a minute.
It reminds me of...
so it's got some reverb changing?
Yeah. Yeah, so you see, it's a bit complex, but let me explain. There is a proverb on the layer effect. Well, on the layer A effect.
Right.
Yeah, and the time.
Yes.
The reverb time gets modulation by LFO1.
Right.
And
if you look at LFO1,
thing is set on random.
Yes.
So it's.
And it's not synced, so it's going to just do whatever it wants when it wants.
Exactly. It does what it wants.
Yeah.
There's also what I like in music nowadays is that you can include this chaos in the,
Yeah. That's very fun.
Especially when you will hear the multi, Ich bin kein Berliner, you will understand.
Right. So I changed from Air Kick 8, which is like a complete, that's the club stomper thing, to 11, which is more the deeper house round. That's great. Let's go and let's play 2.
Yeah, the only one, the other one is real
atonal.
You see the Arps here, and you have one oscillator with Harmonia set to a fifth interval.
Right.
And from there, you just go to the mods, and when double checking, you have mod 4, modulation 4, which is again a pitch modulation.
Oh, cool.
So it's something you can save separately as well if you want.
Right, and you can change these parameters to have the stepping that happens in this pattern be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's fun. Very unique. All right, Northern Exposure, 5th guitars.
Yeah, so there is a patch called a multi called Northern Exposure, and it contains this patch, and I decided to keep it as well separately because it's really useful when when raising when lifting the mod wheel. You can easily put that into a progressive house record, a psychical record, a trance record.
Yeah, it makes it brighter, so it cuts through the reverb.
Yeah, and once you stop playing, the reverb stops.
Oh yeah. yeah. You've got it gated somehow.
Yeah.
And you just have the delay coming after that. That's fun. Very fun. Share of
Bitterlieb. This patch has a story, and it's all into the patch info, by the way. But Frankfurt native Oliver Lieb,
yes.
he's a hero of mine, and if he's watching this video, beste großen, Oliver.
Exactly.
Oliver Lieb is a wonderful guy. He's adorable. He's made the jar on his own.
Yeah,
probably. Actually, Oliver Lieb has been my biggest influence from the 90s, especially another side project of his called the Paragliders, and it was all released on on a German label called Superstition Recordings, and it was amazing. What he used to make was completely out of this world back in the time.
Yeah.
And Share of Bitterlieb is in fact a bass patch inspired by a record of his called Share of Bitterness, under his name Paragliders. It's a release from 1996. I discovered that through a local record store, and I fell immediately in love with it.
Yeah.
And you have those fifths that you can also switch off if you don't like them, but it's really up to you. I
love the quality. It's got that nice,
I like the sound on layer A on its own, but I wanted to add a little bit more variation for the others.
Right, so you could turn on A and B and play with the mix down here with the sliders.
Yeah.
All right, so you can make this your own very easily. TB, Singing at Dusk.
Oh, this is another of those patches not making use of the arpeggiator, in fact, because it was made originally into Omnisphere 1.
Right.
And the reason why it doesn't make use of the ARP, that's because into Omnisphere 1, you couldn't make use of the speed because there was no speed knob in Omnisphere 1. So I made this all into the modulation envelopes. And I put the mod wheel, the modulation on the speed of modulation 1 here, of mod envelope 1. This way, you could really have this progression in there. And I made exactly the same with the amp, with the amplitude envelope. It's also linked to the mod wheel. So these two are linked through the mod wheel.
Right. And you get the ability to have the pitch change.
Yeah, it's really useful when making this kind of ambient, jazz, future sound of London, probably something like this. It's really reminiscent of this period. Yeah. And I like the Pulse 25 because the Pulse 25 is actually what's being called the square wave on the TB. So
the waveform itself, right?
The waveform itself. Right.
Yeah. Let's the Art of Trance. Let me play it for a second.
I'll let you play now.
I'm gonna speed up the tempo. Oh, this is one where you hold down and it goes forever, if I recall the progression, right?
Just one finger.
I know. There's one finger for all. Now it repeats. Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah, and this is also one of those patches that I started doing, in Omnisphere 1. And then, well, you can see here, and I've been real clever with the note progression, because I programmed a first note progression with modulation envelope 1, and then on modulation envelope 2, I programmed another progression.
Right.
And those two work together. And that makes the magic of the patch.
Right. Two's transposing it down. Up.
But that's not it. Once you raise the mod wheel, you have all those effects and everything else that I programmed. It's just crazy. It's probably one of the very best patches you will ever hear in Omnisphere.
Yeah.
I'm serious about it. It's not because I did it, because
right.
I don't care who did it.
But somebody did it, and it was you. So here, let me let him hear the mod wheel for a second. So let's play a note. So it can transform.
Yeah, and you have all those, gating effects and everything else. It's just took me a lot of time to get there.
Very inspiring. So there's an awful lot to learn from that one patch, all by itself. Well done. Trance Pulsar.
Oh, that one.
Ibiza. Ocean
Very.
waves.
Yeah, I like this patch because it's so damn simple, actually, and it's beautiful. Makes good use of Harmonia.
Yep.
And from there you have this floating ambience that you can use.
Yeah. Just makes you have a smile on your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
The chords, in fact, are really like that.
Yep. That's the magic chord. I think 13th, right? 13th?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. 7, 11, 14, 16, it should be something like that. Not sure.
Yeah. All right. This is another one that blew me away when I first played it. Trancer Dicer 1. One note. Like, how are you doing that? And I played around and explored, and it's using the use of the volume of each of the Harmonia oscillators to play different parts where it's volume up and then the volume comes down.
Exactly.
Right? So if you go over here to the mod wheel, or to the mods, you will see that there's 1, 2. That's when 2 plays. 3. I'm zooming out so you can see it. So it's just three parts, but so those 3 are bringing up those 3 notes. Very clever. So just to clarify, when you call up Trancer Dicer 1, it's using samples. But if you hit Synth on these parts, so that they're not using the sample, now when you go over to Harmonia, you have access to all of the waveforms for each of those elements, so that each thing can be a different waveform for the different parts of the melody that's being played.
Yep.
Okay.
You can do whatever you want with it.
Right. So that kind of flexibility is definitely something to explore if you so desire.
Yeah.
Trancer Dicer 2?
Yep. A simpler version.
Euphoria. Beautiful. And lots of stereo.
Yeah.
Fun stuff happening. 3.
Slightly different vibe, but same kind of sounds.
Same idea.
Between,
7 is totally different. I love this one. Once again, you're doing some sorts of cool tricks to get the chords to change.
One of my favorites is number 7 in Trancer Dicers.
Yes. It's beautiful, dude.
It's also you making use of Harmonia, but this time I didn't modulate them, but I modulate the notes, the root notes.
And you're doing offsets as well on the arpeggiator to give you the...
Exactly.
Right.
See, I use the arpeggiator, but with a clock at 1/4,
cool.
so I can...
Right. So you're using the modulators to fix the chords to be right, so it's not just doing a whole chord shift up and down, because you hear it go from minor to major. And then back to minor. Because that gives you the chords that you want once you have it shifting with the transpose and the arpeggiator.
Exactly.
Like that chord right there would sound bad if it was not transposing from minor to major, right?
In this context, that would sound awful.
Yes.
But this trick, this is a good trick.
Trance Dicer 8.
Yep.
A unique use for the banjo, but that's got that nice string quality to it.
And you hear that stutter in there, that glitch.
And the mod wheel brings up great effects.
I made good use of the retroplex effect in there.
Yes.
I think that's the reason for the glitch, for the stutter. You know, this is because
the very speed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, mod envelope 3.
Yep. Or is it 4? Yeah, it's 4. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, there it is. Yep.
You see, and the various speed changes.
That's awesome. Very useful. Fun. Trancer saw sequence.
Okay.
We're going old school for this.
Yeah, it's coming from the multis as well.
Yes.
So it's real basic and something you can use it straight away, straight right from the how do you say that in English? I'm not sure. Right out of the box, something
right out
like
of the
that?
box. Yeah, it's ready to go. And the mod wheel is nice because it gives you that bright synth sound when you need it for.
Yeah. So you see, as you can hear, there are lots of sequences and arpeggiated stuff into the library. That's that was the purpose.
Yes.
The purpose was to make something that you could use into your productions without, you know.
All right, tripping the light, fantastic sync.
Well, this is something. Big disclaimer, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Big disclaimer.
Yes.
Do not use this melody into your records and to produce records. Okay, I put that into the info.
Yes.
So there is a disclaimer into the info. This patch, and most importantly, its play notes are part of an existing record.
Yes.
It's just there for the demonstration of the modulation envelope on the pitch, nothing else.
Right.
So it's just fun. A reference to an artist that I like. His name is Brian Tronso, better known as BT.
Yes.
And it's one of his first records. I'm a big fan of it. So do not use the notes into your own productions.
Right.
Whatever.
Go here and edit these to find your own thing.
Whatever the root note is, I don't want any trouble with that.
Right.
Okay, the disclaimer isn't there.
Right. I'm not even going to play it, so we won't even put it on YouTube as a copyright infringement of the melody. It's a lovely melody.
Better like that.
So that's there for your reference and to, but it's a like incredibly perfect copy of that melody.
Yeah.
So
the melody, the sound, and everything else. So you just can use it that way, and it's great because you can. Yeah.
All right. Ultimask. How do you say
Ultimask?
Ultimask riff.
Ultimai is my favorite chill out record label. In fact, Ultimai is probably the most important label of the genre for me.
Right.
And this is where artists such as Solar Fields release their records, and they are really great He released like 5, 6 albums on there, and they're all outstanding. I can only recommend them. And well, this is some kind of
Beautiful.
pad that is reminiscent of their style without being, you know, a copy or something. But it's really funny. And you have this great melody.
Yeah.
They can play at 100 BPM with a kick. Well,
Yeah.
like you use the air kick 4 on top of that, and then you have, you know,
It's interesting that
something
it goes away when you let your notes off, hands off the keys.
exactly. The reverb goes away. Was made on purpose. Yeah. Yeah. So the way I do that, so I make the reverb disappear by modulating the imager that I put on the auxiliary
right.
on the aux return, and I modulate it with the key. The key, well, the note on off. No, it's
Mod envelope 1.
sorry about that. The mod envelope 1, indeed. And this way, I can just, because of the mod envelope 1, I can.
Oh, and then you actually have it to two things. Well, right, you have it to the mod envelope at the end of the chain on the auxiliary, as well as in common. So
exactly.
So the panning goes away, everything goes away. Yeah, kills everything.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
It's almost startling. It's fun to have things like that. I'm
so
gonna
Eisdanian.
Yes.
Next patch is
Glitch.
something. It's more drums, but inspired by A.S. Dana, who's the label boss from Ultima.
Yeah.
And he had on these 2008 album Ley Lines a fantastic intro on one of the tracks, and it featured this kind of beat, and I recreated that with the Omnisphere only. It's just noise. As you can see, the oscillator is just noise, and everything else is just effects and everything else.
Let's see, let's go over here. Go to the page. Oh yeah. That poor noise. It's just gonna be, and the effects after it and the cutoff. So here's an air clap for the next one. It's out of order. I'm gonna make sure that there's only one clap that had the Arps, so it's just this one.
That's because I did want to let people to give people the choice, but this clap cannot be made by using an arpeggiator, and there is a good reason for that. In modern house music and some trance music records, the clap comes on the second beat and fourth beat as well. As usual,
right?
But it comes slightly before each of those pad beats,
right?
And there is no way you can do that with the arpeggiator into Omnisphere.
But the timing of it is not locked to perfect too. So that way, it's just a little early.
Yeah.
And if you turn snap on, now you've lost it. If you snap it to 2. And also, if you go to the mod 1, you can take the decay and change it to be longer.
Yep.
To change the shape of the clap to give it more room, less room.
Yeah, exactly. You can change the curve.
Yep. Great. There's a whole bunch of hi-hat patterns. I'm going to just go through these really quick.
Yep.
There's so many. I'm just going to actually skip around and just... So much variety. So these are available. 5 is cool. It's got kind of like a little bongo.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you can use it for any kind of things, really standard things. But it's great having being able to use those hats straight into Omnisphere.
And what's fun, because it's not a sample in a sample library, it follows tempo, and it sounds really nice because when
you can modify them.
And then you can modify
the pattern.
Daylight.
You can modify.
Get the hi-hat to be exactly where you want it to be. You don't have to go out and look at EQ and those
Exactly.
types of doctoring treatments, you're on a component level in the genetics of the sound. So it's very fun.
Let's check the kicks, maybe.
And then we get to the kicks.
Getting in passion.
And
well, most people know that I specialize into kick drums. Precision, precision is the key when working on kicks, and this is why I specialize into them.
Right.
And from there, I realized that with version 2, I can make my own kicks into Omnisphere. Then so I made a.
So let me show these really quick.
Collection.
There's so many of these, and the key here is to look at the patch, and usually it's the A layer, the transpose settings. You can change these to change the body of the kick drum. So they're also set up so they don't follow pitch across the keyboard. So that way, when used in multis, as you play up and down the keyboard, your kick stays consistent and right where it needs to be. Because just even fine tuning a small amount on kick drums will change the body that's resonating in this track, and you don't want that. So these are across the keyboard. No matter how many notes you play, it's just one kick. And I'm going to just show on this one here. I'm changing the body. And then B is like the attack.
Yeah. That's the click. Yeah. That's what we call the click, basically.
Right, the click. So you can go like this. I'm filtering the daylights out of it now. So you can shape these sounds and customize them so much. That's why it's nice to have them to start with. So there's kick from 1, 2, 3, and again, go to the body.
Exactly.
Just go to A and tune it down or up a little bit so it fits the hole. You need to find where it's going to fit the hole with the bass line and the key of the bass line, because that's the whole magic of trance, is finding the right harmonics that resonate between the bass and the bass drum and everything else that's happening. And
then you need different bass drums. And fact is, you have one synth open. Mm-hmm. You don't want to have a second synth open in order to look for that. You don't want to check a gazillion samples.
Right.
You can just start by checking those kicks. They are probably not the very best ones you've ever heard, but they are good starting points. Yes. And fact is, because they are synthesized kicks, you can also change the shape of the sound by using the model wheel.
Right.
And there is another purpose. You can start building multis with those. Right. You can start shaping your own sound with those.
Right.
There are multiple reasons for me to make those kicks and to
and what's nice. What's nice is they're different. Yeah. That you, it's kind of like similar to what we saw earlier with some of the bells. There's different, or the trance dicers and so forth. There's different techniques used for different kicks to get different results. So it's kind of fun to.
Yeah.
So here's 5. 6 is one of those that just has that bottom that just sits nice. And the other important point to mention is on the multi-page, you have output assignment. So if you set Omnisphere up in a multi-output, you can put this to its own treatment channel on your digital mixer or your analog mixer or so forth.
Some people are really into it. They want to shape their own sound. Their sound with their tools, and they're probably not into Omnisphere.
Right.
And this is something completely understandable. What I use some FX from Nomad Factory, for example, or Native Instruments all the time on those kicks and snares and everything else to shape them a little bit more.
Yeah.
So the option is here, but at least you have something direct, right out of the box. You can use it.
Yeah. We'll get to the multis in a minute.
Put that into your production.
So there's 13 kicks. Here's 8, which is complete
big
club,
one.
The club stomper.
Bang. 13 is not bad either.
So they have different amounts of, and once you start putting these with the sounds, that's when you start assigning the one that's going to harmonically match what you want. So it's nice to have. 13 is great. Okay, then the air reverse noise is a noise that has, I believe, mod envelope 1, probably. And you have to hold down for some of these, because there's nothing until the very end of a 4 major phrase.
So
right,
we've got from that. Well, you see all those kicks. Well,
right,
guys, enjoy. Really enjoy, and you will have a lot more in the future.
Yes.
And definitely. I'm gonna make a video in order to show you how to make your own, but you know all the details and everything else.
Right.
Because I think it really deserves, you know, a separate tutorial, a separate screencast to show you that.
Yeah, it's complicated to get into, so we can
Yeah,
spend.
yeah. It's sometimes it can get quite complicated indeed, quite complex, especially for beginners and well, and sound design and everything else, which I completely understand.
I'm going through the snares. We're on number 8.
Yeah.
Now, something like number 8 is cool because there's a reverb on the mod wheel. So if you need more of that, you know, the dubstep kind of thing where it's got that long white noise, kind of a reverb, it's right there for you to use. So this is great to layer maybe with that sample, you know, so then you have some different qualities to it for the dubstep scene if you're interested. 9, 10. Now 10 has a little up click, like it's a sample where you didn't quite truncate it right.
Yeah, indeed.
What is that
Remember
you're holding?
that one?
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah, the Casio, right?
Yeah, the VL Tone. It's my very first synthesizer. It was handed to me. I got it as a gift when I was 9 years old, and I never left it.
Yeah.
It was almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
And I have my kids using it all the time, and it's an amazing piece of hardware.
Casio Tone lives on.
And it didn't have a line out. So, well, it didn't have a headphones out. It had a line out only. So if you wanted to use it with headphones, you needed an amplifier. But fact is, it was so damn easy to use. And what I liked about it is the rhythms. Remember those? Well, I love them.
Yes.
I really love them. And the good thing about it...
Well, you simulated it. I mean... there it is.
Yeah. In fact, this is Rock 1. And if you want the Rock 2 rhythm, that's on the VL Tone, you just lift the mod wheel.
Oh, yeah.
So you got a double snare.
You got the rock and roll, off you go. Hey, okay, so let's keep moving on. We've got a long ways to go, my friend. There's so many patches. We got to hear the pads. You got to hear some of the leads. Edgy introduction.
Yep. This patch was inspired by a soundtrack from a video game, which is a game called Mirror's Edge. It's awesome.
L'Albatros.
L'Albatros. Something between the drums and the key percussion. Don't know what.
Lost in the ROM.
Lost in the ROM. One of the very old patches that I used to make. Again, the ARP is not even turned on this one, and I'm making use of the good old patches. And as you can see, the test tone. I mean, a simple test tone can be transformed into something completely different. So then we have
Purpose
makers. Yeah, they're just like techno kind of beat. Well, not beats, but techno fillers for the rhythm. You know.
Yes, they have that little push to them.
Yeah.
There you go. Stuck in a cave. This with those big feet.
That's one of those great patches that you can use for, you know.
Yeah.
For those action scenes and everything else. Stuck in the cave is like the context, you know, of the thing you have to score. And you know, you sometimes you have the hero or, well.
Right. It's Amazonian Chase.
Same kind of vibe, but different context. So,
and again, turn on the kick.
I think it was part of the Heart of Africa
Right.
volume.
Right.
And the other one is also a new sample from Omnisphere too,
Right.
which is the kalimba.
Right.
Picked,
With the coffee
you
can.
know,
Played the coffee
yeah,
can.
it's
Very cool.
I love those.
Yeah. Now, this is my one contribution patch to the library was the 2-bar sidechain noise.
Yeah. Thank you, John, because this one is really comes in really handy sometimes.
Yes, and it's fun because I turned the loop off. So when you play this, and as you play different plays on the keyboard, it's going to be different amounts of energy in the noise, but
yeah.
if you play high up the keyboard,
it's
it's
really useful.
And the loop is turned off, so that means once it gets to 2 majors, it stops. Because I found when I was playing and using a sustain pedal to be fun to play a note, then it plays and it goes away instead of repeating forever and ever while you're trying to play all the other parts that you could have happening in a other places on the keyboard. So that is fun to have in the library. Flipping Erhu exposure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Erhu, well, this is Chinese violin. Many people know it. It's just I wanted to put the phrases into evidence into the library because many people don't know that all those phrases used to be part of the libraries from Spectrasonics. So they have a great historical value in terms of sound design and everything else and music. Because I used to, I still rely on Spectrasonics most of the time, and this one was really was great. It's part of one of the multis I made, which is a Northern exposure as well,
which is great.
And
it gives you an open door to just hit the folder button, and you're in the middle of the phrases.
Yeah,
and go anywhere.
And I made use of a granular engine as well to slow it down. To play in the different different tempo.
Right. And if you want to hear it regular, you can turn granular off and there's still a sidechain going to the amp, which is nice.
Yeah. It just sounds different, but
because so much dance music is based on one sample being repeated through the song to give it kind of that trance vibe. So
exactly.
No, but giving people access to it and making it this easy to get into.
Yeah, this is truly awesome. When I could find some samples that I lost 10 years ago and finding them into Omnisphere too, it was like, wow.
Yeah, here they are again.
Big relief for me because I can finally have some of my classics remixed again.
Right. Because it's the same samples from those libraries.
Yeah, the same samples.
Now they live forever in a new, shiny case.
Exactly.
Yes. Hello, old friend. Instant Cybent. These are BPM leads, so we play one note.
This one,
right?
This one was I gave this patch to a friend of mine, and he used it into one of his latest records. That's already been released, but we are gonna re-release it through my upcoming compilation in the Mix 001. And
so this is on a recording already.
Yeah,
it's an Omnisphere 1 patch.
It's a 1 patch, but it's really useful and complex. In fact,
yes, yeah, because the
note changes every single time it plays. It gets triggered by the arpeggiator. It changes.
Right, and the resonance in the effects or something is.
Yeah, exactly. It's being changed all the time.
Awesome.
And Ambient 2 is a different kind of vibe. Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is that 5 triplet feel.
Yeah. I like those syncopated, those 5/8, 7/8, 11/8 melodies. And I use them all the time.
And to show you guys how easy it is, so we have the kick drum that I've been using and Cybent, and then let's go to part 3. And to simplify it, let's go over here to multi and just turn on stack. Because the cool thing with stack and why it's there is it ignores MIDI channel. So it stacks everything automatically and immediately. So now I can go to part 3, go to Airwave, all those bass lines, let's just find one and done. it's so fun to play with that way. So we just made a really cool multi just by adding 3 parts together.
Way to go.
All right, let's get back on track. Let's go to Ultimate lead riff. So
this is also part of the multis, but I wanted to have it separately. This is sine wave, and that puts this slush reverb into evidence.
Yes.
In the patches, because it was not really being put into evidence.
Right.
Until this patch came in.
Right.
Actually, it's just that we talked about it, but the only way to put it into evidence to make a patch based on it, and this is what I did here. So
here's without the ambience. So here I just brought down the auxiliary synth. So this beautiful reverb with the 2 chorus echoes. Once again, you go to the Airwave effect rack, and it's right there, the Ultimate Classic Lush Reverb. That's the sound. And if you turn off these 2 echoes, so it's just the reverb, it just the reverb now just sits there. Turn these on, and there's this beautiful imaging and motion that all of a sudden shows up.
This is the way that reverb should sound like all the time for me. No, I'm serious about it. 2 chorus echoes, you have this
magic,
this wonderful, this rich sound from the early 80s.
Yes. BPM pad. There's 1 pad. This is Trancer.
Yep. A very good one, by the way.
Great. Like it very much.
It's a pad. It's somewhere between the pad and the bass. Yes. Actually, you can use it for about.
Yeah, if you transpose it down lower, you would get to the basser tones. Now we go to Chaos is Beautiful.
One of my favorite. Nasty, this one. And when you raise the mod wheel, it shortens the sound.
Oh, that's rhythm.
Transform the whole thing into rhythm.
Yeah. Let's mute. I had the kick and a bass line going with it. So you can use the mod wheel to go between the noise element and a rhythmic element. Well, a rhythmic noisy element. Great. Great. Let's keep moving on.
And now my favorite patch of the library, actually, Chasing Space Rainbows, is something that came in, when I was making the patches a few months ago, and I was like, yes, this is the direction I need to take for the library. That was the game changer for me.
Really?
And this is this patch, and it's beautiful.
Let me play.
Really beautiful.
Wow. Let's just use the mod wheel. Instant euphoria.
Yeah, it's just that, when used in the right context, it's awesome.
Now let's bring in a bass and a drum. Here we go. 1. Dude, that's so cool.
Glad you like it. Well,
go to 4. Have a hi-hat join us. Bass, chord, drum, hats. It's crazy. It's so beautiful. So nice, man. The marriage of the sounds is so perfect. To have 4 patches that just randomly put together
I gotta tell you, it's pure luck here. Pure luck.
Well, no, it's designing sounds the right way for each of the sounds. You understand how to get each component to be in the right space, so when they're together, they don't like jump on top of each other. It's nice.
When making this patch, I got really lucky, finding the right sounds and everything.
Beautiful.
But, so
and right next to it's da da da.
Yeah, well, actually, you press F. You know the VL tone.
The demo.
Well, you had the demo song. Well,
yep, there it is.
Made this just because I could make the multi.
From chasing space rainbows to da da da.
Yeah.
All right.
I know.
Well,
sorry about that.
Nope. Hey, it just that's how it happens. Wait, I have to do this. Go back to da da da. Let's turn on our cool drums and our bass line. It works. I know. Allergic reaction comes from the trance crowd, Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't go there. All right. Funny pulsing. That's very similar to the concept of chasing space in a way. It's got that beautiful reverb shimmering. It's so cool.
Different kind of vibe, but really useful.
Yeah. I mean, you take the effects away.
It's just basic.
So much of this is the components of this. Awesome. We go Northern Exposures?
Northern Exposure, Exposure Stab 1 and 2, which are stab that, in fact, there are sequences playing into the multi, the associated multi called Northern Exposure. And we put them as an example. So side by side. So you know what, for people who like those elements, they can just use that straight away.
Right, so we go Northern Exposure 1 and 2 and have them play together.
Yeah, you just put a kick and the bass line with those elements, and you have an idea of how it's going to sound like, especially at 124, 125 BPM, you have, this tension, building.
124, I think I need a different bass, so I could go to part 3, trying different bass. Or 1 or 2. There we go. Yeah, so you've got that cool growl. The growl, I love that.
Yeah.
I remember those records. Nice.
So we can go straight to the drums, or to the claps, or even straight to the leads.
Yes, let's go to the leads. The claps are cool claps.
Yeah. Well, you will discover them on your own. Especially clap 1 is my favorite, but you will see the other ones.
Yes.
They're really useful. But we can move on and to the leads, because there is one lead that I like specifically. That's Atlas Winds, because it's reminiscent of my record Atlas Winds that got released in 2012.
It's a huge sound.
Yeah, you can use it to play those Eastern melodies like the Eastern keys and everything is just awesome.
Yes.
And
let me play
Evangelist.
Let me play a simple chord can change your life forever.
Oh yeah, good idea.
It's beautiful.
And damn simple, in fact. When you look at
Then Evangelist. Very classic.
In fact, it's the Dream Piano. It's the Dream Piano with
simple chords?
sugar packets on the hang drum, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it, and the rest is distortion, reverb, whatever.
Right.
It's damn cool.
It's very cool.
It's really simple.
Evangelist based on, of course,
well, the Greek master,
yes.
Vangelis.
Beautiful classic lead.
I love the sound, specifically because here, in this case, I made it with the synthesizer and not with the CS80 samples.
Right.
Because I think, I had this lead, kind of lead, and I was like, shall I include it or not? And I was like, let's do it, because sometimes, this kind of lead was used by Vangelis in the early 80s, but you cannot find it into Omnisphere that way.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's make it.
Yeah. Yeah. There it is.
So
it's available.
It's just at your fingertips, and just go take it and move on.
Early morning guitar feedback.
Yeah. And everything is just a sine wave, and the miracle of the wave shaper, and all of this through a flame distortion and the envelope filter, and you got it. Just that simple.
Just those things. That's all it takes. I love the little melody.
Yeah, there is a lot of modulation on the pitch and everything, but to be honest, it's early morning guitar feedback is when you we had patches such as a slice of joy and everything else. When you use those with that one, it makes completely sense. And I think there was a multi using the guitar feedback patch.
Right.
Not sure.
Yeah, I think there is a multi that's using.
Yeah. Improper sweeping.
Improper sweeping. Nice sweeping.
With sweeping. Improperly.
Legendary 1080.
Oh yeah, because you have to know that I used to be a big fan of a rack expander. That's a Roland JV 1080.
Right. All right, ornamented horn. Let's keep moving.
Oh yeah, this one.
Beautiful distortion on strings.
Really, ornamented horn is really inspiring. When you press the key the first time, you have this ornament. And then if you play legato, as it's a mono patch, if you play legato, you don't have it anymore.
Right.
And it comes back once you
stop and then play new. Nice ornament. Drone or lead useful. Dilemma.
Yeah. So if you play it high, it's a lead.
Down
if you play it low, it's a drone.
Either way, it has really cool effects.
But a drone in the simplest, in the simplest way, because it's not really
right. Sidechain abandoned.
It's just abandoned the sidechain. So what I did here, I modulated the start with velocity and random of the sample. I mean.
Right.
And I used the ARP in order to have 2 8 notes. And from there, I used the sidechain in order to have this, pumping effect.
Right.
It's part of one of the multis, and it's just there for tutorial purposes, so people know how it's done. The sidechain. So if you check the sidechain on the mod. On the modulation envelope 1, you have it?
Yes. On 1.
And then you have the ARP and especially that start modulation. The sample start modulation is very important to me, because it transforms every single texture into Omnisphere into a rhythmic pad.
Right.
Actually,
it's changing
this
and
is something
subtly changing it. Right.
This is something I use all the time.
Right.
This is something I use all the time.
With Harmonia giving you the octaves. Right. And so what's nice with this is just hit the folder button and go through the whole sample library. And
exactly. And you just pick your own and do whatever you want with it.
Right.
And you just go to the textures and pick whatever you want.
Right. So it's just automatically set up to play with. We like that. All right.
So the pads.
Pads.
Also, apropos is... Oh, I forgot about that one. Sounds great.
Yeah. It's definitely using a little CPU cycles.
Another journey inside your soul here.
Yes. It's a beautiful texture ambiance to set the mood.
Makes good use of inner space as well, and resonators, which is really important.
Right.
This is resonators is an effect unit that's going to be really, really important.
Ice Palace.
The Ice Palace is really well. Those two are really in a league of their own, because actually, if you look at the patch, they're just noise. And the tone
and resonance
is created by resonance.
Yep.
And so you have the comp filter, I think it's comp, and the metal pipe used on the second patch, and this
on the second patch. Right.
These patches are really useful.
Yeah, it has that comb filter effect. And the mod wheel up gives you this beautiful ambience that takes over.
Yeah, so you can
this brightness and
have
stuff.
a different vibe. It's a little bit damped, you know?
Yeah. All right, JD returns.
Well, JD800, one of my favorite synthesizers ever.
Yes. Cool pad.
I love it.
Legendary 1080.
Another of those JV1080 pads.
Nice fifth chords. So you can play major chords all day and be happy.
Yeah. Well, the 1080, if you listen carefully, there is a rhythmic element proper to to those syncable LFOs of the 1080 that's present in there. It's really cool.
I hear it.
And it's all, based on those JD800 samples, but you could find them into the JV1080 as well.
Beautiful.
Next one, Pipo's Odyssey.
Yes.
Well, rest in peace. I hope he's very well where he is. Pipo is the nickname of a good friend of mine who passed away recently. His artist name is Philip van Mullen.
Mm-hmm.
He was a pioneer of trance music, together with a great DJ called Fifi. Well, Philippe. Yes. They both came from northern France, and they made this kind of patches into their productions in the early 90s. And when you raise the mod wheel, you have
the octaves come up. I think a little harmonia was used in there.
I think so. I'm not sure. Yep, it is.
Yeah, that's how you get that.
Harmonia. Yeah,
you modulate the mix, so you get the
modulate the mix.
And the volume also of the second one that's at plus 24 semitones. So that's where that bright shimmering comes from when you... Awesome. Serenitech.
Well, very easy. Well, simple patch with a vocal noise bed on layer A and signs from the JD800 on layer A.
Heavy CPU hit.
Yeah, and I'm gonna explain you why.
Inner space.
Because if you look carefully, I'm using the granular engine on those samples.
Oh.
On layer A, in fact.
Yeah.
And you have to know that using granular on this kind of samples, especially when you're using, effects and everything, it can be CPU hungry.
Well, it's a pad, so that's long release.
In this case,
yeah.
In this case, on the aux return, there is also an inner space instance with 2 convolutions.
Right. So it's gonna hit your CPU pretty hard.
It's gonna be the CPU. It's gonna hit the CPU. Yeah, but it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Serenity and Melodic is about the same. Yeah, it's really hungry. Yeah. It's a CPU hog.
Fall of an Angel.
So, Fall of an Angel. Simple chord patch.
Yep.
With a good variation with the mod wheel raise
and mod wheel. Right.
As you can hear, I'm a 90s synth fan. Yeah. I've always been a fanboy of the Korg workstations, the Roland JD and JV workstation, synthesizers and everything else. And I love those sounds.
Well, this is a beautiful
sound. I will always love them.
Yes.
So
this gives some of that to people that didn't have that era to grow up in. They have that now to share and enjoy in a way. The void we leave behind.
Yep. Very, very slow pads.
Yes. And using granular, so be aware. Void we leave behind too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is very reminiscent of like the Phenomenology of Ambient album. It sounds like this.
Yeah, very, very useful. And then Visions of Terror to Come is... This one is well, it's okay. It's not too heavy on CPU. If you use this granular,
it still takes the CPU up pretty high over here. But the mod wheel definitely is doing some interesting things to the sound.
Oh yeah.
The intensity is being brought up of granular. Yeah, that will definitely do it.
And then you have a series of sound effects.
Yes.
And Cybertron-esque is some kind of sub part.
Yeah. Like the winding down of a robot.
Yeah.
It's really cool up on the top of the keyboard because it kind of like it hits the resonance in different places at different times. Yes, you need things like this. Sometimes the kind of ground hum.
Yeah. Oh,
dirty up a track.
I used to hate that sound in my studio, and now I'm just looking for it.
Yeah.
You know?
I need some more dirt. Give me ground hum. Oh.
Yeah. Exactly.
O1W.
Yeah.
Must mention this one. This is a very clever patch.
There was a waveform. There was a waveform on the Korg O1W.
Flutter Effects by Stephen K.
Fluid FX. Yeah.
Who's also the godfather of Karma.
Yeah, that I like so much because I used to own a Karma myself. Yes. And I'm so desperate to find a software version of the O1W, but there was no version. There was no Flood FX.
Right.
And I was like, okay, let's try to make it to replicate it into Omnisphere.
You did.
So I did.
I mean, you have it like a sample, speeding up and slowing down and everything. And you guys have to realize, you have to study this. This is insane. It's using the mod envelope 1.
Yep.
And then it's using a really clever ability of using the key tracking to change the speed to simulate a sample playing faster and slower across the keyboard. Just brilliant, dude.
You gotta send this one to Stephen K. Probably.
I know. Like, there it is.
He's gonna be happy. Yeah, but because I heard that patch on countless records from Enigma,
Yeah.
Vangelis, and anyone can dream. And I was such a fan of this patch. You cannot,
Yeah.
can't believe that.
Yeah. Well, here it is.
And I used to own a O1W myself just for that patch, and only for that one.
Side trance torsions.
Torsions are something for the Psytrance producers, and because I do produce some Psytrance or Psy inspired music all the time, and I need those patches. And I was getting sick of doing them by hand over and over again. So I make the distortions just like I just need to edit it up a little bit, and so I could move on in my production.
Yeah.
And exactly the same
element.
distortions too. It's just really, these are really bread and butter sense for Psytrance producers, but this way they don't need to look for samples, and they don't need to do that on their own. They just can grab the patch and
change it to make it a little bit more go to the enveloping and so forth, and off you go. Shredded Eastern vocal. Let's play that for a second.
It's one of those patches being used in the multis as well, in the ambient multi, which is very good. And,
once again, using the phrases.
Yeah.
But putting all sorts of stuff on top of the phrases so that it doesn't sound like a normal phrase. It's been processed heavily.
Exactly. If you bypass all the sample, all the effects, then you get to hear the original sample and make sense. But thing is, I like those masking effects on
so
samples.
Using the new analog vibrato.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah. Nice shape to it.
Stomacal Express.
Ooh. Stomachache, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like
it sounds like it.
Like that your stomach could make when you have to go to the bathroom quickly. Exactly that.
That's right. Excuse me, Mother Nature's calling. All right, enough of that. We got the idea. Vinyl Viddy's Vicky.
Well,
Vinyl Viddy Vici.
Yeah, Vicky is the Latin pronunciation, and Vicky. So those two patches are just
record noise. Different years of damaged records being played.
And I just use no damaged records, but just noise.
Watching UFOs passing by.
Inspired by playing for too many hours with Space Invaders on the 2600.
Yeah.
This.
All right. So anyway, we were talking about multis, and just make sure that you go through these. These are just great examples of the patches, and to give you an idea of what you can do with them. It's very powerful. The wheel versions let the mod wheel bring up mixes and completely transform the sound. And we will cover this in a video this coming week. I'll do a video on multis and how to get into them if you haven't played with them before, because there's some.
That's gonna be that's gonna be a requirement.
And I thank you so much for joining us on this tour. It's great to have you sharing where some of these sounds came from and your experiences and everything.
Man, but I was born and raised through your sounds with the Korg synthesizers and everything. So this is the least I could do, really.
It's awesome to be synergized. It's a synergy now.
And by the way, by the time you see these guys and girls, don't forget that this guy today is our birthday man.
Yeah, thank you.
He's turning 51.
51 years young.
Oh yeah. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
De nada.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you again for making this available for me to sell, for people to have access to.
Really.
It's
my pleasure.
Many years of experience from yourself in all sorts of just inspiring sounds. So, yay. I will talk to you on the next live. We'll do a video here soon, it sounds like. So
Well, we'll do a lot of videos
Yes.
together.
Yes. Great. Great.
Count on it.
Yes.
Count on it, man.
Yes. All right. All right. Thank you, Laurent. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you in the next video.
Have a good day. I'm off to bed now, and see you later on.
Yes. We'll see everybody later on.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.